Hey, hey, can you hear me?
You got rid of your background.
Yeah, I had that on there when I did a meeting at church, and it was Cinco de Mayo.
Oh yeah.
I can't see any of you all.
And they don't have vacation. The problem is in task.
I'm hidden.
Oh,
We can't get anything. So
Can you see Dell?
Not go. We always have homeowner association on.
Oh, you can't see the camera on at all?
Change a lot.
I can't see you guys. I can only see me, and I don't want to see me.
Most of the time.
There should be a view up on the top
Yeah.
right. It looks like a little film clicker thing.
No,
Yeah,
getting it.
mandatory mask.
Could be my stupid iPad.
You
Strip it out. This
use are weird. So
Oh. Oh,
got a right to hit bad. But
oh. There you are. I can see you now. Hello, everybody.
hello.
Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
We're late.
Are y'all ready to get started?
Ready.
Do we have everybody on, I guess? So Larry, are you gonna do the honors today?
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee,
To the
Texas, one state, under God,
one indivisible.
Our Heavenly Father, we come to you today with thanks and ask that you be with us as we go through this crisis. Lead us to help make the right decisions for our county and our employees. We hope that we can survive this pandemic and come out stronger as a nation. We ask for your guidance. We ask these things in thy name. Amen.
Thanks, Larry. Okay, the first item of business is the bills. Does anyone have any questions on the bills?
No question.
No. Make a motion, we approve the bill. Approve payment of bills.
Motion and second to pay the bills. Any further discussion? All in favor? Is Kathy there? Do we have payroll today?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think it was on here. Let me go to the next one, Cindy, and I'll run and get it, okay?
Okay, all right. Thank you, Kathy.
No problem.
Item 5, any additions or corrections to our last Commissioners Court meeting?
No correction to the May 11th meeting and also the special meeting May 18th.
Okay, thank you. I'll remind everyone again that if they would like to make a public comment, there's a chat box. They can put something in the chat box, and I don't know if there's anything in there. I'm not seeing anything. Is there anything in the chat box?
Nothing new.
Okay, all right.
They can't hear.
That was before they unmuted us.
Yes, no? Okay.
Good.
Item 7, consider, discuss, and approve any and all items necessary or pertaining to the county jail. Is the sheriff there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good morning, y'all.
Morning.
So we have currently 32 inmates, 3 females and 29 males. Also, I would like to let you all know that we've received the new tasers, and I want to thank y'all, every single one of y'all, for working with us in order to be able to purchase them, definitely making it safer for our inmates and the staff as well. We do have the shower order, and we have purchase orders for both the shower and the air conditioner as well.
Hey, Sheriff, when are they gonna start the work on the AC?
That, I don't know when they're gonna be coming in, but I will let y'all know as soon as they give me a definite date.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
No.
Thanks, Sheriff. All right, item 8, consider, discuss, and approve any and all items necessary or pertaining to the county courthouse.
I called James this morning and he says they haven't heard anything. Said that they did have that meeting on Tuesday after the last meeting, after our last regular meeting.
Hmm.
And Dennis said that he had already shipped that stuff on up to the higher echelon and that they haven't heard anything back yet, but said that everybody there that's on salary is on furlough. And so he said they're all furloughed for 2 weeks. So maybe another week or so they won't.
Okay. All right. And so I was up,
Not for him to hurry up and get it done because we're gonna maybe open up 1st of June and maybe we get the people in there and get started working if we did.
right.
That'll be up to you and the rest of the court whether they want to open it up for the workers or not.
Okay. So I was up at the courthouse yesterday and I saw where y'all had placed the stickers out. Is that all done? The 6-foot stickers?
No, we run out of stickers and we ordered 72 more for the downstairs, doesn't have any in it, and we like a few up here. And I want to thank Dale for coming up and help me put them down.
And those stickers are in Milwaukee. That's what I was looking up to see where they're at. They're on their way.
I don't know.
Okay.
I told Dale.
Okay. Anything else on the courthouse?
Nothing that I know of.
Okay. Are we, well, we'll cover that. Kathy? Is that what you said?
Yes, Kathy's back.
When you get,
Oh, okay, we can go back to payroll then.
okay.
If there's nothing else on the courthouse, y'all, we're good with that?
That's all that I know of.
Okay, all right, let's go back to item 4, consider and approve the payroll.
Cindy, I'll lay you one right here, okay?
Okay, that's great, thank you.
Okay, this is our payroll, and this is, will be dispersed on May the 28th. And our, on the wages, it's $577,520.71. And on the payables, it's $239,466.42. So our total payroll was $816,987.13. Any questions? I didn't have any payroll changes.
Motion we pay the payroll.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the payroll. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay,
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
All right, we're ready for item 9, consider and or approve the resolution for the HAVA grant funding. Jan, do you have anything on that?
Not specifically. I know that we have to have this in place and approved by commissioners before we can even go forward with the HAVA thing. And there's 3 different things that we can apply for. And they will send all that to the county judge, what we can be awarded. But this is our first step in trying to get some funds from HAVA for elections. So
And I think they actually, from my understanding, they've actually released some funding due to the whole CARES Act or something. Is that correct, Jan?
Yes, so 2018, there's a security one for 40,000. And from the webinar that I went to or attended, listened to, we can get reimbursed for our new equipment. Of course, we spent 131,000, but 40,000 is definitely a bonus. So I'm trying to get some reimbursement for it. But then there's an 80,000 one. That's a 2020 security grant. And then the 2020 CARES will be awarded. So that amount we do not know.
So this is something not with the pandemic, this is something
Completely
before the
different.
pandemic.
I make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to approve the HAVA grant funding resolution. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, and I think Jan has that resolution. Are y'all passing it around to sign it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, item 10, consider and or approve the early voting ballot board for July the 14th, 2020 runoff election.
And so I left a copy of the early voting ballot board. Everyone has signed off on that, from the Republican and Democratic chairs to the sheriff to the tax office to Judge Irwin, that we need to have approved by commissioners also.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to approve the voting ballot board for the July runoff election. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. And item 11 is consider and or approve extra week of early voting for July 14th, 2020 runoff election as per Governor Abbott's proclamation.
So since of the pandemic, Governor Abbott said that we will start early voting, which normally we have 1 week of early voting, but we're gonna have 2 weeks now because of the COVID pandemic. So we're gonna start June the 29th. So I want approval for this because I only budgeted for 1 week of early voting salaries. And so I'm gonna be short about 5,000. That's kind of a rough estimate. But we don't have a choice in the matter. I mean, Governor Abbott has said this is what we will do. So, but I want you to know that, yeah, I will have it in the line items if we can transfer in elections, because I won't be going to election school this year if they cancel that. But
So I need to make a motion to approve the extra week. I'll make a motion to approve the extra week of early voting for July 14th, 2020 runoff election as per Governor Abbott's proclamation.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve that extra week. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay,
we will be voting on July the 2nd, which is a holiday for us, but we will be voting on that day and also on the Friday after. So that's in his proclamation.
okay.
July 2nd. What's the other one?
The 10th, is
I'm
that?
pulling up the calendar.
I don't have it.
Is that right?
First one's,
The 10th,
Second, in 7 days.
the second is on a Thursday,
right, we'll be voting
and then the 9th is on a Thursday the following week.
and we'll vote on the 10th. We
And the
will
10th.
be voting on the
So
10th.
second,
Okay, so those 2 weeks, the last week of June and the first week of July, the first 2 weeks of July. Is that right? For early voting? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Right, anything else on that? Okay. All right, item 12, consider and or approve the county specific incentive. If y'all remember, we put this into place a couple years ago, or maybe even longer than that, maybe about 4 years ago. The county specific incentive was the physical exam, the yearly physical exam. And if you did not complete your exam, then you were assessed a $25 a month surcharge. And we've done pretty good on that. Kathy, do you know where we're at with that this year?
We got a whole lot right now, but haven't done it. So Amy sent out letters probably week before last.
Yes.
I have until July 31st to get it in, so hopefully, I've had a few call and they said they would get it done. I guess they have appointments in July or something, because of course it's a yearly thing, so some of them that waited last year till July, well, they can't get it done until July this year because it only pays once a year, you know? So,
Right.
well, hopefully, you know, last year we just had one. I only have one right now that I take $25 a month out of that person's check. The year before that, we had two. The year before that, we had one. So, I mean, but we stay on them though. I mean, because we don't want to take the 25 out. So,
Right, exactly.
so hopefully we'll get another report from probably maybe the end of this month, and we'll send out another letter sometime in June.
Okay. All right. So this is just to decide if we want to continue our county specific incentive program. Do you want to add anything or just keep it the same with just the physical?
I think the same is good enough.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we leave it as it is and go for the incentive, specific incentive.
Okay. All right. With just the physical. So was there a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion second to continue with our county specific incentive program. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Item 13 is to consider and or approve the health plan renewal.
Now,
Y'all
Charlotte,
have lot-
I'm sorry, Cindy. Charlotte,
No,
on
go
to-
ahead.
She's there.
is she? Okay,
I see her name, Charlotte W.
okay. Well, because I told her about 10:30. I thought it was towards the last, but if she's there, whatever.
I just see her on the list on the right.
Can we see if we can unmute Charlotte?
We're looking.
Okay.
She's right in the middle of the name list. Do you see the name to the right? Oh, yes. I don't know where her. Oh, there she is.
Should be
She's got the
Charlotte,
desk
Nicole, and Gary.
Where?
She's got the desk right there below Sheriff. There she is. Charlotte, are you there?
I don't know if she's there yet.
I think she's got it on, but she's not in there.
She's
Well-
on.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can come back to that.
Thank y'all, thank y'all.
Yeah, we'll just come back to that one.
In the room.
Yeah, her desk is on. She's got video going.
Okay.
Okay, do we have an update on the COVID-19, Jerry?
Yeah. Okay, so what you're seeing here is our current numbers as far as state numbers. As of in the state, 55,971 cases have been reported. 1,527 fatalities in the state, and 35,292 recoveries reported to the state. As far as Hutchinson County, this is cases that have been reported directly to emergency management, or which is the judge and myself. So some of these numbers are different than how the state reports them because they're taking different numbers as far as rapid testing and how they confirm those. But when we get a report from the state, this is the numbers we use. That is 36 reported cases directly to us. 22 of those cases have cleared them. DSHS has cleared them as recovered. 2 of those were rapid testing, not listed with the state. So the state would say 34, we're saying 36. 14 of those cases are currently active right now, and 2 of those cases are hospitalized. Currently, 1,527 fatalities, but Hutchinson County is still at 0. This is what you're looking at is the daily trend. As of yesterday, new cases in Texas were 623 new cases yesterday.
Can you move those over? Are we coming back down?
No.
Nope.
But it's still a daily rate, so you're just gonna see that daily rate until it's a zero. This was the actual one we had from last commissioner's court, and we just wanted to show you the difference. So this was today.
Yeah,
That was last.
flat.
So we did have a Memorial Day weekend in the middle of this. I'm kind of interested to see if this number is going to start to go up again, or if we're going to start to see a decline daily. We were in the 1100s daily cases, and it's dropped to 1,000, 900, 700, 600. So I'm kind of interested to see this Memorial Weekend if that number starts to go. So this is an important one for us, just because it monitors our healthcare system and what we're capable of having in our region. You can see that total staffed beds, 1,069 staffed beds. Available hospital beds in our area, 479, 39, 50 ventilators. So lab confirmed COVID-19 patients in our area, 61 patients that were treated in the top 26 counties.
Did they give a graph? I was looking on that dashboard. Did they have a graph of that cumulative of the hospitalizations
Of just our area.
of just the whole state and our area? Because that, to me, that's the more important number, is how severe it is.
Yeah, there is it's not really put together kind of like the other one is, but it's more similar to how this is, and just the numbers per day. They do list them per day though. So you can see that number change. Like this is actually up a little bit as far as state of Texas numbers with COVID-19 patients in hospitals. This was up since the last commissioner's court by about 30 or so.
They're not keeping a graph, you just have to keep looking at it.
Yeah, it's daily
That's what
counts. This right here is, as of, these are the dates that the governor has put in place for opening Texas. May 11th, May 18th, we did the opening on exercise facilities, daycare centers, youth clubs, stuff like that. These are on this webpage that we have listed here are all the protocols that the state has set aside for people that have these type of facilities and how they need to open the facilities and safety precautions for them. So if you go onto this website, you are a business owner, you need to go just look at these protocols and how they recommend you open your facility and operate. As of May 22nd, we had the bars, bowling alleys, rodeo events, zoos, and outdoor motorsports. And then as of May 31st, day youth camps, overnight youth camps, professional sports without spectators, and then youth sports and professional sports. So that's the next tier, as long as we don't have a dramatic increase, especially after the holiday. But that's the website to go to. Open Texas website has all the medical information on DSHS. The next thing there, text Hutch Health to 888-777 for Hutchinson County local alerting for your local updates on that. We're also going to be sending out something on to this here pretty soon about the full version of the Everbridge notification to get onto the weather alerting and the rest of that stuff that's coming out. But other than that, I think that's all I got.
So not all the test results are back.
We have most of the results back on the drive-through. There was, I think we still have like 12 or so test results that hadn't got reported back to us yet. They could have came back and they just hadn't gave us any new positives because we're only getting the positive cases. They're not giving us the negative cases. So
Nursing home.
they did. The nursing homes did get tested. I haven't got any information on that.
Okay, thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
So item 15 is discussion if we need to take any necessary action related to COVID-19. We're still on target to open the courthouse to the public on June the 1st. Jerry, do you think that's feasible?
Well, we won't have the other spaces in. They will be in, I think, when the 3rd to the 8th.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be feasible to open with that. And because they'll be on the bottom floor where the security is, and he can kind of keep them separated down there till we get them.
Yeah, and hopefully we won't have big crowds of people in the courthouse.
Right.
Because I know that we've got our court procedure in place, but we are not having any in-person unless it's an essential need, probably till after June the 8th. Yeah, I saw your comment, Judge Bradshaw. Yeah, June the 8th. So we pretty much got that process ready to go for in-person. Sorry.
We started on the top floor and working our way down, and it's pretty well covered down to this floor.
Yeah, the only big, the only big crowds I can see would be like if anyone were to schedule a jury trial or a huge docket, and nobody's going to do that. So there shouldn't be a huge crowd of people in the courthouse anyway. And I think I've talked to y'all about leaving the one public access to the door down by security. So if y'all are still okay with that, we will just maintain that as our one public entrance.
So I think that will be a wise move for now.
Judge?
Yes, how are we doing on the stuff that we ordered, Jerry?
Well, so we went and picked up this weekend the masks and some of that equipment that we're looking at providing for the courts and the courthouse. After our meeting, Judge Bradshaw had put together a meeting for the court rooms and how their operation is going to be on last Thursday. We had discussed about how to keep not just the courtrooms but the entire courthouse kind of on the same page, making sure we weren't doing something between the courtrooms and the courthouse that doesn't mesh well together. And looking at a lot of the other counties, and we've talked to Hansford, Ochiltree, Moore County, Potter, and Randall counties. I sent you some of their stuff on how they're doing their operations. As far as the availability of the masks, I think we've been able to take care of that. I think most people are looking at using that one point of access and then doing some sort of temperature check for individuals that come through, a contactless temperature check, and then issuing a mask at the door. That's just a facial covering at the door, and then letting them come in and have a facial covering on in public areas. Not necessarily behind the screening that we had built inside the courthouse to the employees, but at least in the public areas, a lot of these other counties are providing these masks and having them people wear it in public areas. So that's something we needed to discuss on how we wanted that operations on the courthouse to go, because as far as the courtrooms, they're going to make it mandatory they wear the face coverings in the courtroom. So that's something we needed to discuss.
Okay, where will we issue the mask?
At the point of entrance to the courthouse.
So in our south door.
Yes, sir. And then I would provide, so as far as mask total, I think we went and picked up over 50,000. So the mask shouldn't be an issue as far as issuing to public, general public coming in. The one part that we had talked about was the staffing of that position, which would be the security officer doing it. And then, he has to go to the restroom or go on lunch, and that was one thing recommended, that whenever a lot of these other counties, when their security person goes to the restroom and goes on lunch, that the post is, there's a close to the bathroom, close during lunch kind of thing. They're doing a progressive deal on this. The other thing is, with this grant, we also have the availability to apply for overtime funds for people that we're specifically using for this situation. So if we have to pay somebody for overtime, we can actually apply for this CRF grant for overtime funds for COVID-19. So it's an option. I haven't thought of that. We can try.
You said
So Jerry, did we get the thermometers? Did we get those?
So the thermometers haven't came into the rack yet, but they are on order. I went
Okay.
to Ace Hardware, and they have actually ordered me 3 thermometers for the county. That way we could have these in place before. I wanted to make sure everything was here before June 1st.
Right.
They'll decide to do the operation. Well, I'll have 3 here this week, and then the masks definitely not an issue. And I see Judge Branch on here if he wants to say anything. If I messed anything up, make sure he can.
No, I think all that's right. I do know that both myself and 316th have also ordered a couple of our own thermometers. So I think by the time all these finally get in, I think everybody will be pretty self-sufficient as far as thermometers. And if we have just a few, I think masks that are dedicated to the individual courts, that'd be good. Just so we're not scrambling in the event that we do get a large number of people coming at once. Although I don't really think that's going to happen. You mentioned jury trials, Judge Irwin. That's OCA Supreme Court has said that that's essentially on pause until further notice. And the rumor is that they're going to suspend all non-essential jury trials, which would be, I think, anybody who's not in custody on a criminal defense until 2021. So it's not something we need to, I think, be hustling to figure out a procedure for, because at this point it's kind of indefinitely suspended. But to Jerry's point, no, I think everything's good to go. And Judge Irwin, I sent you that final draft of that operating plan if you want to send that to the commissioners about kind of how we had discussed last Thursday.
Okay.
Do that, but that's
Okay.
all right.
Great. So as far as opening the courthouse June the 1st, we'll just have that one public access. I would just ask maybe the offices to, if someone calls and says, hey, I want to come up and do whatever, just encourage people to wear a mask if possible. That way if we do want people to wear masks in the courthouse, throughout the courthouse, then we won't deplete our supply quite as quickly if people will just wear their own masks, if that's what we want to do. So are we going to make that mandatory in the courthouse, or what do y'all think about that? I mean, it is going to be mandatory in the courtrooms.
If you make it mandatory to the public, then the employees will have to wear them also.
No.
Travel in the halls.
The OCA process we have discussed, I believe pertains only to the courtrooms, not the courthouse as a whole. So we need to decide whether anyone entering the courthouse has to wear a mask, or we would highly encourage them to wear a mask. If
I say encourage.
Yeah. You unmute Judge Brancho. Jerry, can you unmute Judge? Yeah. Go ahead, Judge.
I would just say, with being on the top floor, at some point, if the common areas, it seems kind of superfluous to require masks when they come up to my door on the second floor if they've gone through the entire common areas without them. I mean, it depends, and we can always modify these things as we go. But at this point, I mean, obviously the most conservative approach would be to require them in all the common areas. And that's one thing that we discuss with our operating procedures going forward, is that in the common areas that, I'm going to wear a mask. We're going to require everyone else to wear a mask on my staff anyway. In between, I also want to chime in as far as manning the door. I've talked to Judge Mosley about it, and between our bailiffs, on court days, we're happy to have our bailiffs kind of man that door to help out with the security down there. But again, that is true. I'm not, all I can do is for the courtrooms, and the courthouse is obviously y'all's decision to make. But I'd like to have it at least be on the same page, because again, if we're not requiring them in half the courthouse and we are requiring them in the other half of the courthouse, if it's a person-to-person contact, I kind of wonder how effective it'll be if it's not kind of unilateral throughout the entire courthouse. But that's my 2 cents.
We've maintained, everyone's continued to work for the most part, full staff since all this started, and none of us have worn masks.
Yeah.
To date, even in the common areas. So, I mean, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know. I mean, if we're gonna have anyone else coming in the courthouse wearing a mask, then maybe we should wear a mask if we go into a common area. I don't know. What do y'all think?
I'm not a fan of making it mandatory. I mean,
Highly recommended.
with my research and stuff, I'm not an epidemiologist, but the person-to-person transmission, they're starting to say you need extended time to have a successful infection. A lot of the big droplets are going to be caught with the precautions of the plexiglass that are put in, and like you said, a lot of the employees are intermingling right now without masks, and we haven't had a huge problem. So I am a fan of putting it into each department's hands of taking the precaution and giving them the common sense, putting trust in their common sense that they can take the precautions that they want. But that's my 2 cents.
But here's the only issue though, is that have you ever been to a county court docket day or an attorney general day when there's 30 people in the hall room, in the hallways, all sitting, even if they're 6 feet apart? The thing is, you say, well, it takes an extended amount of time. Well, you know, I've people come in for a court at 10 o'clock and they don't leave till 4 in the afternoon. They mill around the hallways the entire time. And again, if it's not required in the hallways and it is required in the courtroom, it totally guts the entire, I mean, in my opinion, it guts the safety protocols for a courtroom. If all the common areas, people are sitting around for 3 or 4 hours at a time, you know, they're all kind of related, hugging everybody and everything else. So that's just my 2 cents. So, I mean, it's easy to say that it's not an extended period of time, but if we're really going to open up and things do start picking up back to normal, there will be an extended period of time and a lot of people all milling together. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Right. And those are big days, you know, that you mentioned, Judge. And so, yeah, it might even be difficult to maintain a 6-foot social distance on days like that. But I guess, when we open back up, are we scheduling some of those days, or, because I mean, that we're not in the county court, we're going to modify our docket, hopefully.
And we're still gonna try to do as much as we can through the Zoom app, as long as we can. You know, there's gonna be things like we've got some contempt things that are gonna have to be heard, and you know, a contempt order through the internet really doesn't have much teeth to it. Can't take someone into custody.
Right.
Some of those things we're gonna have to have in person. There's gonna be multiple witnesses to do so. You know, so, but again, and that's one of the things the OCA is saying, is that, you know, attempt to do everything as remotely as much as you can, which again, we're going to continue doing. And I don't anticipate going back full bore the way it's been, you know, immediately. I think we're going to ease into this thing, but just looking forward, and I don't, you know, 6 months from now, of course, we're going to have a whole new protocol as to what's appropriate PPE and appropriate everything probably as this thing evolves. But so anyway, no, but to answer your question, no, I don't envision us just immediately, you know, 1st of July coming in with a full docket like we have in the past. Okay. That's a good point.
Under that situation, when we get to that point, we could establish new rules to take care of the situation that's going to be developing at that time. So I think right now our decision needs to be made. What are we going to require under current, on June 1st, and then look at this court docket issue at a time when we have a little bit more detail about it. I thought.
Okay, so the decision is masks required or masks recommended?
Recommended until we, I make a motion that we have the mask recommended starting June 1st, and then at a later date, when the court dockets get more at the courtroom, I guess, at the courthouse, then we can make a decision later on the whole courthouse on masks.
There's gonna be grand jury the 8th of June.
No,
That's,
316.
what numbers are we looking at for the grand?
12.
12.
I mean, just
That's
unless they
manageable.
have people that.
Yeah,
That's a manageable number we can work
Oh,
with.
yeah.
Or just 12, they're not trying to pick a jury.
No,
it's
no,
just-
they're gonna carry that one
Okay.
forward until the end of the year.
Okay, okay. I just knew this having one. I don't know
Yeah,
maybe it's
but it's the end of. it
Mark
goes
just,
through-
Mark just turned his camera on. I don't know.
Okay.
if you have anything to say.
No, Susan. Mark has comment.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Hey, Mark.
Yes, we're planning on if of course Judge Brancho gets his courtrooms approved or court rules approved. We're planning on having a grand jury. Judge Brancho mentioned the other day this would be kind of like the soft opening for the courtrooms. We plan on we'll have all in all, including my office, we'll have 15 to 16 people in the courtroom. Judge, we've measured and we've talked to Siobhan. We're going to use your courtroom on those days. That's the easiest one for us to separate everybody, but it's going to be pretty simple. It's just going to be, there'll be 12 outside grand jurors as well as possibly 3 different law enforcement officers that will stagger out throughout the day. So it should be pretty simple, pretty easygoing, a good learning experience for us on how we're going to do it. We're going to follow the judge's rules as well as we've notified the grand jurors of these rules as well and what's expected of them. They will wear a mask anytime they're in the courthouse. From the moment they walk in until anytime they go outside to take a break or whatever, they can take them off, of course. But in the building, social distancing, wear a mask, and with other rules as provided.
Okay, and that sounds good. I think there's just going to be a huge learning curve to all of this. We're just going to have to adapt some as we go along, but we have a motion, and of course the courts can, you know, we've got our own set of rules. Hopefully OCA will approve those, which I'm pretty sure they will because they're pretty standard. But as far as the courthouse is goes, we've got a motion that masks should be recommended. Hopefully all the offices that, you know, like say in Robin's office, I believe she's going to make it mandatory in her office that if you come into her office, is that correct, Robin? Can you like drop me a chat there? Yes. Okay. Yes, I thought so. And I believe in the library, they're going to require people, once they have people, the public coming in, they'll require masks. So that's, you know, that's totally great. I just think it's going to be maybe good for the courthouse right now, like the motion that it's highly recommended at this point that you wear a mask.
Could I just
So
ask,
that's the motion.
Judge,
Go ahead, Judge.
are any of the individual offices in the courthouse not going to require a mask? Because it sounds to me that Robin is, the courts are, so what's left over, the tag office and the county clerk, are they going to require masks?
Jan,
We
no?
are. I'm not.
And the library's not.
The
Oh, I thought
library,
Oh,
yeah,
patrons
Tamara
will be
said she was.
recommended, not required.
Requiring, they're wearing masks, but they won't require. And that just goes into freedoms.
Okay. Okay. Carrie, are you on? I don't know what Carrie's doing, but. So, all right, is that still the motion that we highly recommend masks? Is that going to be is that still the motion, Dale?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and second that everyone will encourage anyone that they know is coming to the courthouse to either wear their own mask or one what can be provided for them at the public access. And then we're going to have those thermometers too. So, you know, we can take everyone's temperature when they come in. I don't really even know what good that does, but I guess if you have a temperature, then you're turned away.
Judge, in that motion, I want whenever they start having trials, we'll review it at a later date.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second that masks are recommended. Any further discussion on that? All in favor? Okay. Right, and there, I'm sure there's going to be other processes that we're going to need to put in place, but we'll put some signs up and put some public notices out so people understand, you know, what's going to happen June the 1st and moving forward, hopefully. So anything else on the COVID stuff that anyone can think of?
So at the annex, we're ready at the annex and the Fritz building.
Okay.
All back is at the Fritz building is entrance sign that Dwayne will probably bring out later this week with some barrels and cones that got them in there. But we're ready at those two buildings.
Okay.
And for me, the library has hand sanitizer stations, and they've taken some chairs away from the computers, so the public will be separate. Like Tamara said, be wearing masks. They will recommend it for the patrons. And I'm leaving you. I can email it to you, Judge. When are you going to be back? Do you want me to email you when I leave here?
Hopefully Monday.
Yeah, no worries. I'll email you this, but Clay had sent me some of his reopening suggestions because his volunteers are older.
Right.
A little older. He's recommending the middle of June. Kind of have 5 people in the museum at a time by appointment. Gives the volunteers a little bit more time. They're going to sanitize between visits and all of that, so they can keep a hold on that. But I'll email you that. If you guys have any issues or questions about the suggestions, it's just kind of, it's not set in stone. Like you said, it's a learning curve. So that's his desire after reaching out to some of the, he reached out to Panhandle Plains, and that's where we're sitting right now on the library and the museum.
Also, Judge, on the club rooms, I'd like to leave them closed for booking for parties or anything until at a later date, at least till after the early voting is done, because the Fritz one is being occupied by Jan, and
My club room is booked until October.
so
Yeah, maybe sometime this fall, maybe
winter.
winter. Yeah. Hey, also, let me ask the question. We ordered some hand sanitizer stations, correct, Dale? Didn't we get those ordered?
They should be in hopefully by the 1st of next week. They were in Dallas, and so they're just processing them, trying to get them there.
Yeah. We'll have those.
Proper fingers, and our order didn't get bumped.
We'll have those, out, at least.
And you got 12 coming for the courthouse, and then I have 12 for the annex and Fritz building.
Okay, yeah, we need to get those outside the courtrooms before we start doing any in-person proceedings.
But as soon as they come in, I'll get them up here.
All right, thank you.
Well, we'll get them installed.
Jerry, is there hand sanitizer and some of that stuff we're getting from the rack or whoever it is we're getting it from?
Yeah, we got a couple of cases of hand sanitizer, but I believe it's the state stuff, which is like a liquid sanitizer, like those gray bottles we got.
Right.
We use them in the dispensers.
Okay.
We did get a couple of cases.
Okay, good.
You'll have at least 2 refills for each dispenser. So you'll have 24 bottles of like to 1,200 milliliters of the sanitizer gel coming with those.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, anything else? Thank you, everybody, for your input on that. Appreciate the way everyone's working through that. Okay, hey, Charla, I see you on. Yay, can we unmute Charla?
Hello.
Okay, hey, Charla, we're gonna go back up then to item 13, which is to consider and or approve our health plan renewal. And I think you've been visiting with Kathy, is that correct?
Yes, we have.
Okay, so I'll just let you guys take over.
Okay, we're waiting. Nicole from my office is jumping on. I'm actually in Arizona.
Oh,
And we're going to show you your renewal through a new tool that we have that will allow us in real time, without me having to go back to the office and refigure numbers, to incorporate any ideas you have into your renewal around funding. So it will automatically show you numbers. And once you have some ideas of where you want to be, we'll send you printed copies of those. So Nicole is our expert on that new system. And so she's getting on right now, but
okay.
let's talk about kind of where you landed. You know, we have the 2 programs in place, and your claims experience is running over 100% paid loss ratio, which, you know, we're not surprised because it has in the last several years. So you paid in, let me pull it back up here real quick. I believe it's $795,000. Let me look. Yeah, so April through March of last year, you paid in $795,438 in premium, and TAC paid out $841,267 in claims. So you had over 100% paid loss ratio.
And that's just medical, right, Charlotte? That's not
That's just your medical.
Yes.
That doesn't have, let me pull it.
prescription.
And that's just a PPO as well.
Yeah, that's just on that PPO plan.
Okay, on the PPO, gotcha. Yes. This is medical and that's pharmacy. So that's just medical, Charlotte, on the PPO.
Yeah, on the PPO. So
Gotcha.
yeah, on your PPO plan, actually, I gave it to you wrong. So on the PPO plan, your total contribution, no, I gave it to you right, was $795.
That's right.
And the total paid is $841,267. That's the PPO. So they want a 5% increase on that PPO plan. TAC is asking for a 5% increase. If you take
Right.
the actual premium paid and multiply it out and add that 5%, you still don't come up to what your total spend was last year. So an additional 5% on your current premium on that plan, and we'll show you this once Nicole gets on, goes to $835,209, where your claims were actually $841. So again, you know, that program with TAC is working well for you. Your contribution on the medical plan, the HSA plan, was right at $760,000. And there was a total spend on that plan of $819,897. So again, over 100% paid loss ratio. And if you take that $760,000 that you paid in premium and add that 5%, because they want 5% increase on this plan as well, that gives you a total premium of $798. If the enrollment were to stay exactly the same, they paid out claims at $819. So they're not even hitting you for what your total spend was. So the pool is definitely working in your favor. Oh, Nicole is on now. I see her. Nicole, can you hear, can you speak so that we can see if we can hear you? Yeah, we need to unmute Nicole, please.
She's unmuted.
Okay, we're looking for
We
her.
found her. She's unmuted.
Yeah, she's on.
Yeah, Nicole, it might be on your end.
Yeah, she's.
It says I'm on.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, yeah.
We can hear you now. So this is Nicole McWaters. She's worked with Upshaw 15, 16 years, something like that. And she is running our new program where we're actually can show you that renewal with a lot of real-time calculations. So If you want to, can you give Nicole where she can share her screen so that we can actually look at the renewals laid out side by side? Do you have access, Nicole?
Disabled participant screen sharing.
Pardon me?
It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get that fixed.
Are you working on that, Jerry?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Okay.
Charlotte on it.
It's challenging handling meetings this way, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's taught us all patience,
Yeah, maybe,
maybe,
Yeah.
or it's tried our patience.
right.
Right now, so I would have let that last one's only host. This is what
Okay.
start sharing, watch it share.
Oh, there you go.
I think I've got it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll kind of walk through what this is showing and Charlotte just chime in.
We all have to social distance up here so we can see. We're old, we need to see.
Okay, so like Charlotte said, this is our new system. It kind of lays it out and we'll open all this up and go through each tab here. But this is your current plans. And you can see, so this number right here is your total employer cost. We can bring in the total cost with dependents and what they're paying as well. But this number right here is the what the county is spending. So this breaks down to the copay plan and how much is being spent there, and then the HSA plan as well. So on the copay plan, we can see our employee counts right here down the side. This is employee only, employee spouse, child, family, what those deductibles, the coinsurance, the out-of-pocket max, and then what that looks like as far as funding. So this will actually change on the HSA because the company is funding some of that HSA. You can see what that net out-of-pocket to the employees looks like, which is different than the deductible because of what you're funding. Then we've got what the employee spending per month, what the employer, the county spending per month, and what those total premiums are. And then it does break it down by a percentage of share. So these are those numbers that if we want to make changes to that for next year, we'll be able to do so down on the renewals.
Nicole, which plan are you on right now?
So this is the copay plan.
Okay. So we have 62 total employees that enrolled in the copay plan.
Well, that's not really true, Charlotte. When I sent you those totals, remember, I break mine down between employee and then that number one that's got the employee plus spouse, that's really just the spouse. Because I looked at the billing this morning. We only have 45 employees in that. So those are off a little, but that's okay.
Well, I can change that.
Okay.
Yeah, change it real time.
Okay, it's not, yeah, that should be 45. And then that next one, that one's correct, but it's not the employee, it's an employee that has a spouse. So I don't know how, I don't know.
I'm not following you, Kathy. So what we're looking for is how many.
It's spouse only.
It's spouse only.
How did they, so the employee's not covered, but the spouse is?
Yeah, but the employee's up here in that 45.
Oh, no, what we need to know is how many just enrolled themselves. So, and how many enrolled themselves in a spouse? How many enrolled themselves?
And we're gonna have to decrease that employee only number up there.
Okay, so we need to decrease it by 17.
No, well, that number, that family 11 is not right. We don't have anybody on family. It's 0.
Well,
that 11 is the retirees.
Okay, so do you have 5 with covering children?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Okay, so we need to take the 11 out, Nicole, and take 6, make that 39. Now let's look at the HSA plan real quick.
And it's same way.
Do you have any on family on the HSA plan?
No, that is retirees.
Okay, so we're gonna take that out. Do you have any, or any of those employee spouse retirees?
No, are the retirees? No.
Okay, so 9, 12, we need to make the 7361, Nicole.
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
Does this
Okay.
9 stay?
yeah, the spouse should have stayed at 3.
Well, but you've already got it up there in the,
In the 73.
you had it in the 73 though.
Well, we decreased it down to
Okay,
61.
Okay, got you. I got you.
Okay,
You're
okay.
right. I got you. Okay, we're good. We're
Okay,
good.
you're good, Nicole.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the 80/20 should be 39. Right.
But the only problem with that, where you have the 69,
61.
they're paying for their spouse that's not showing up.
No, that we account for that.
You did.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So
Okay.
this number here just needs to go away.
So let's look at the TAC copay plan, Nicole.
So here's the copay plan.
Okay,
Okay, so now the enrollment is reflected as how that person is enrolled. So 39 are enrolled with employee only coverage. They're just covering themselves.
okay, gotcha.
One employee covers herself and a spouse, and 5 employees cover themselves and a child or children. No
Right.
one's covering a spouse and children. So the deductible on that program is $1,500. It's an 80/20 plan. Remember, it has office visit copays, and the maximum out of pocket for an employee only is $5,000. So Nicole has shown you there what your copays are. So they're 30 for primary care, 40 for a specialist, 40 for urgent care, and 150 for emergency care, an emergency room. So if you look, Nicole, go hover over the premium share.
Okay.
So right at the premium share, it shows you, these are your current rates that TAC is billing for those programs. Right here, we're under premium on the far right-hand column. That's what they're actually billing you. If you look right to the left of that, that's how much the county's contributing for each of those categories. And then to the left of that is how much you're deducting per month from each employee's paycheck to have that coverage. So you can see where it's highlighted in blue, what your contribution is as a percentage of the total premium. So for example, on the employee only, TAC is billing you $1091.74. You're contributing $993.22. So that's, that employee is contributing 9% towards the premium. You're contributing 91% of the total premium. And then you can look all the way down and see how that breaks out by whether they have spouse coverage, child coverage, and or family coverage. So the total cost for that plan, Nicole, the $539,902, that is a total premium or an employer premium?
That's an employer.
So that's what all your funding for that plan adds up to. Then on the HSA plan, we have 61 just covering themselves, 3 that cover themselves and a spouse, 9 with employee and child or children. So that program, remember, has no first dollar coverage. Everything is subject to the deductible before there's any benefit, with the exception of preventative care. and now some teledoc visits because of COVID. And COVID testing is also covered at 100%. No deductible, no copayment, no cost sharing to your employee. That was a mandate that came down out of the White House. So that deductible is $4,000, and then the plan pays 100%. So you are funding $1,500 into $125 a month. So you're funding $1,500 over that 12-month period for an employee only. And if someone's covering a dependent, you're actually giving them $250 a month. So those dollars, remember, go into an account that they have a debit card on that they can swipe to use to pay for their deductible items. So when you look at what their net out of pocket is, if they're just covering themselves, after you take into consideration the $1,500 that you're providing them, assuming that they work for you for a rolling 12 months, their out of pocket's $2,500. Your employee with spouse, child, or family coverage, their out of pocket max is $5,000 because you're giving them double the amount you give employees. So if you jump all the way to that far right-hand column, it shows you what TAC is actually billing you monthly in each of those 4 categories. So for an employee only, you get a bill for $868.22. You're funding 100% of that cost, and the employee's not having to pay to be on this program. If you look down to the employee and spouse, they're billing you $1,809.92. You're funding $909.18 of it. The employee is funding $974 a month. So basically it's a 50-50 split. So you've got a little bit of a dependent contribution towards that plan, whether it's spouse, child, or family. You're contributing more than the $868.22, plus you have that additional HSA contribution that you're funding for them. So your total employer spend on that plan is the $893,959, and Nicole, that includes the HSA contribution, correct?
It does.
Yeah, that includes your contribution. So we're assuming that they worked for you for a full 12 months. Okay, any questions on the current funding?
Have any? It could be higher though.
Yeah, it's gonna,
It's a lot, it is.
Yeah. Okay, no, that looks good, Charlotte. That's right.
Okay, so Nicole, you want to jump over to the renewal? So these are your, do we actually have a side-by-side comparison? Okay. Is there a way to, there we go.
Okay.
Can y'all see that?
Not really.
What will print and scan to you, Kathy, once
Okay.
you can have your input and tell us how you really want to see it, because we can play with it.
Okay.
So that we're not having to leave and get it reconfigured and back to you. So we can just do everything in real time.
Okay.
So in the light blue on the left-hand side are your current 2 plans. Your copay plan and your HSA plan, or Kathy, you call it your 80-20 plan is that first column, and then your HSA plan is the second column. So
Okay.
for both of those plans combined, along with your HSA contribution for a rolling 12 months, assuming that all your enrollment stayed the same, because we can't figure it by actual enrollment month by month, but based on this current enrollment that's on the plan, you had a 12-month plan spend, or you will have, of $1,433,860.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Nicole, your renewal plan, yes, so the renewal plan's there in that dark brown gray. It's an overall 5.2% increase if you keep all your funding the same. If you keep your plans the same, you don't make any change to the plan offering, we assume that everybody stays on the same plan that they're currently on, you're going to go from $1,433,000 in total premium to $1,507,000. So the way that breaks down is if you look at the enrollment, kind of the middle of the page, and I'm pointing at my screen and I know you can't see my finger. So you can see there how that affects the employer contribution to the program and the employee contribution. So what we assumed here is that you didn't give anybody an increase. Okay, you kept the you kept the employee's contribution the same, and you employer, you eat all the increase. And I know that's not probably what you're going to do, but we just wanted to show you. So this is no change for the employees, and the county absorbs all of the increase. So this shows you at the bottom what happens to your total employer contribution. Your 80/20 or copay plan, you can see that it's $539,901 in employer contribution. It's going to go up to $571,818. And then in that second and fourth column, your current employer contribution on your HSA plan, including your contribution to the HSA, is $894, right at $894,000. It would jump to $936,000. So pretty hefty increase for the county to absorb all of the increase and not pass any of it on to the employee.
What was the total amount of our increase? I mean, I know she gave us the total figure, but what is the difference we're paying now?
It's about, without the figures I gave you earlier, without you paying dependent or anything,
Right.
It was about 72,000.
That's what I said.
Yeah, so that's about right.
Right.
What she's saying, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's with the county picking up the increase.
Correct.
That's if you were to eat all of the increase and keep your HSA contribution exactly the same.
Okay.
So we modeled out, Nicole, do you want to pull up your?
You don't like that, Chair?
You see that, Charla, renewal at budget. Hang on.
Why don't you explain this one?
Oh dear. That looks frightening.
Did we model out all the increase going to the employee, Nicole?
That's, I changed those numbers. So let me make sure it changed those.
She said it to us with changes if we make any, but
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to change to make.
Well, probably what I need to do is give several different things.
Yeah, okay.
Now, which one is this, Charlotte, we're gonna look at?
Well, this is supposed to be renewal at budget, but when I changed the numbers, because the budget is essentially the 1433 or the 1.4.
Which
Uh-huh.
means all the increase would go to the
Yeah.
employee.
Something happened when I did that, Charlotte, because it changed the premium share. And I can't actually change it on here because it's supposed to be pulling from the current. And so I'm not sure why changing those numbers would have changed the premium share. Let's just go down here.
69.
So this is really going to be the keeping the employer contribution as close as possible. And it gets, so what it's doing is it's actually pulling more of the percentage. We can change the employer cost exactly.
You just can't change it on that one.
No, so this renewal at budget pulls everything from the current. I can't
Okay.
actually. alter
Okay,
that.
that's okay.
This will show us essentially the same thing.
Uh-huh.
So we've got 868, 909, 18. So I can go in here. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's just do it the exact same dollars. 22. And Charlotte, this was 909,
909,
81.
I believe so. Mhm. Yes, that's what it was.
Okay, so then that would be charging them 5%. And that's on the HSA. So that's if you kept the employer funding exactly the same as what it is now.
Can we look at it on this side by side versus current like we did earlier?
Yes, the HSA, this is actually dropping it from 1,500 a year to 1,000, and then from 3,000 to 2,000. So we could play with that. Let me get the copay.
Yeah, your employer contribution into your HSA is very generous. So that's why we're showing you a lesser amount
Okay,
into that plan. And if you're not charging, you have very little, we have no cost to that plan currently. If you start charging them the 5%, you may or may not want to lower your contribution into the HSA, but I think it's something definitely worth thinking about.
okay,
Because that is a pretty rich plan with only 4,000 out of pocket maximum and at no cost to them. And then they actually only have a 2,500 max out of pocket once you apply that HSA contribution. So let's look at them side by side once Nicole inputs those new numbers.
And these are just matching the current. Okay. All right.
That Excel spreadsheet you sent out to us has the numbers on it. It's- Unless you're.
it had the number wrong on the family HSA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Forgot to add the.
I sent the new one though, the new one's correct.
I just opened it just a little bit ago.
One of them forgot to add the increase.
Yeah, but I did send y'all a new one on 5/14.
Okay, so in this modeling is you passing on all the 5% increase onto the employees, so the county doesn't absorb any of that, and you dropped your HSA contribution from 1,500 a year to 1,000 a year for employee only, and from 2,500 a year, I'm sorry, from 3,000 a year to, what did you have, Nicole, 2? On the HSA?
Yes, from 3,000 to 2,000. And
From
you can-
3,000 to 2,000 for families. So you actually, you can see at the top, you would actually have a net decrease, assuming everyone enrolled like they're currently enrolled, of 3%. Those are on county dollars. But your employee, if you look at the first and the third column to look at the copay plan, your employees right now are paying $98 and sorry, my glasses aren't strong enough, but 98.52 or 82, I can't see that.
52. It's 52. 98.
52 a month. If you pass on that 5% increase to them,
153.10.
yeah, but that's more than 5%.
No, not really.
Is it not? Okay.
Oh, it's not for my figures.
Okay. So they're going to bump up to 153. Those
Right.
with spouse coverage and you only have one, they're going to bump from right at $1,200 up to $1,313 a month. Those with children and you have 5 of those are going to bump from $633 to $716. And then family's going to bump from $1,644 to $1,783. Your HSA employees, those are on that plan. Right now, they're not paying anything for that. They would go to paying $43.40 a month. Those with spouse would go from $900 to $990, children $413 to $479, and family $1,295 to $1,404. But that's going to give the county a decrease in your total plan spend. So we could adjust what you're a little bit if you want to stay right at that budget at 1433. You know, you've got some dollars there to play with, and either add that back into HSA contribution or make the premium increase a little smaller to the employees. We could play with those numbers, but that just kind of gives you an idea of, you know, best case for employee and if best case for employer.
Okay, Charlotte, on this though, that we're looking at now, you put the increase of the 4340 on the HSA to the employee, but then you kick down from the 1,500 to the 1,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
The HSA contribution, yes. We assumed that you would decrease it. So
Yeah.
we can go back in and,
Well, I mean, I don't know this, but I think what the commissioners are looking at too, though, is if you did it that way, if you had them make the increase and you kicked it down that 1,000, is that not going to make the contribution that the court gives a different amount on the HSA and the 80/20?
because you're wanting to keep the contribution the same.
I think so. I mean, that's what we did last year.
Okay, so what that would be then, Nicole,
It's right here. It went from the 127.5 to 85.
no, what she's saying is on the employee only,
Okay.
if you look at your HSA plan, let me write these down for you real quick.
Well, I think what I had figured is that if you took the increase on the HSA, the 4340, if you took that off the 1,500 a month or the 1,500 a year.
So Nicole, she's wanting the actual contribution for the HSA plan and the copay plan to be identical. So you have to make the copay plan, you have to add in the $1,000 divided by 12. Does that make sense?
Well,
Am
so
I hearing you right?
these are if the contributions towards the premium are the same. Now I can change this funding amount back to the 1,500 and the 3. Is that what you're asking?
Well, not really.
No, so the employer contribution in total for HSA, including the HSA contribution, should match the contribution to the copay plan. So just do this, Nicole. Just go back to your copay plan in this scenario
Mhm.
and increase the employer contribution by $83.33.
That's okay.
That's close.
I think we get the gist of it.
Okay,
So this would be 951.
yes.
What
You
we,
just,
I'd like to see,
Okay.
we've got some of these figures
Okay,
already.
okay.
What it's gonna cost us if we
Want what?
need the entire increase, 72,000.
72, 74.
And then some alternatives, if we lower it, where that we don't pay anything. You know, the
Okay.
poor, the employee, in any scenarios in between. All
Okay,
right, one, if we assume all the increase,
okay,
one, that the employee assumes all the increase,
okay.
and a couple of options in between.
Okay, so could we maybe get those? Did you hear that, Charlotte, Nicole?
yes, so we want to see
Yeah, but
one,
can we just get that and y'all email that to me?
yes, we want to see one that assumes the employer taking all the increase.
Yes,
Number two, employee assumes all increase.
yes.
And on that assumption, do you want to keep the HSA contribution the same or lower it?
I think we're talking about maybe lowering the HSA contribution.
It's
And-
one option. Yeah.
Yes, as an option. And then that they're just gonna get, they're not gonna really have an increase in their premium. They're gonna get less in the HSA. That makes sense, Charlotte?
Well, on option one, where the employer assumes all the increase, you're saying drop the HSA contribution.
Do what?
Yes, drop it, not drop it totally. She's saying drop it some.
Drop it.
Yes, yes, I got it.
Okay.
Yes.
And then where the employee assumes all the premium increase, do you want to also assume that the HSA contribution to the plan by the employer goes down or stays level?
Both.
Okay,
We can look at both.
Yeah.
okay.
Where we drop.
I'll
contributing to-
I'll email you.
Yeah.
Okay, I think, and I just want to make sure, Kathy, you want to make sure that the total dollar contribution to the HSA, including the HSA contribution, equals the amount of employer contribution to the employer plan.
Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
to the copay plan.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, I'm with you.
Yeah, what they pay out now, 12,000 and something, they pay out 12,000 and something on the other one.
Regardless of which plan they're on.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, we'll get those, we'll get them
So
printed and
I'll
emailed
email
over to
you
you.
later this afternoon or something.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get them printed out and scanned and emailed over to you.
This is an excellent plan. I mean, an excellent program y'all have.
It is, and it's just, honestly, we're guinea pigging you.
Oh, good, good.
It's
Okay.
new
that's
to
good.
us, and, but it makes it nice that we can take care of it all in one setting.
Sure.
Instead of us having to go back and reconfigure, it just calculates, it takes out the human error too in Excel,
Right.
the formulas and things like that. So,
Yeah, it's excellent. though. Okay, Larry's got
feedback.
feedback.
Okay, well, Nicole and I'll talk after this and we'll get these laid out and then we'll get them over to you.
Okay, and like I said, I'll email you this afternoon just to make sure what they're coming.
Okay,
Okay?
that sounds good.
Okay, thank y'all for being
Thanks.
here.
Good to see all of you. Take care.
Okay, y'all be.
Carla,
Bye-bye.
thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole.
And do we have to make a final decision again?
June 30th.
June 30th.
Yeah.
A month. June 30th.
June
Okay.
30th. I have
That's
to,
not very long.
no, but I have to get it to them that day, but not any
Okay.
later, but they want to check it.
So Cindy, I ran some numbers and with the way it looks, the way this pandemic hit us and everything else, my numbers are based on the employee making up the difference of the increase in the, where'd she go?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. But
With
I got that
the
email.
employee making up the difference in the increase of the premium, and Jerry's got my little sheet.
Did you get the sheet, Cindy?
Yes, I have it pulled up on my email right now.
So Jerry's gonna pull it up, and I'll hopefully.
Yeah, you can just
You got Google. Big
And
Google.
I'll but with everything going on and how we're on with the oil drop, price of oil drop, I just don't know. I don't have a crystal ball to see how long this is gonna hurt the county and how long it's gonna be. After listening to the comptroller on webinar not too long ago, he was saying it could be up to 3+ years.
Well, he's saying it could be a year and a half before it even affects us really
Yeah, you
bad.
would listen to it too, and probably
Yeah.
you too, Judge, but we just don't know the effects, and I just, I just don't want to make a commitment on something when we don't know how it's going to affect us as a whole.
Right.
Jerry's gonna pull it up, and it's just something that, we got to have a starting point of where to start our discussion, so hopefully my numbers in Charlotte come close. I don't know.
They're close.
But
I looked at them, they're close.
Ours
Yeah.
Now,
so
that one wasn't correct that I gave you, that one number. The other one's not.
Kathy, I missed out on this conversation, but I think you said we have to have a decision made and back to TAC by June the 30th?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, all right. So
I'll walk through what I've done as soon as he gets it going here. So on the first, on HSA, in parentheses is what,
I'm still trying to share the screen. I haven't downloaded real fast.
he's still trying to share.
Did he give you this?
I've got your email, Dale, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah.
Do y'all have that? Do y'all have that in front of you too?
Yes, we do.
So in the,
There it is.
so in HSA in the parentheses is the number of employees that's on the plan. And employee, children, spouse, and then there's no family. I should just left it off. So we got the first column, got the current, what we're paying now, and then what the county pays, and then the employee pays, and then the new premium rate. Well, the new premium rate is $911.62 for employee only. So my proposal was to, and I made them equal, 80-20 and HSA. And also, I felt like the retirees, if they should take part of the brunt of the increase just the same as an employee. So I'll get down to it later in a minute. So this will take the increase of the premium out of the card that we give a month. That's what the plus. Instead of 125, it'll be 81.60 and then on down. So it's really not, it's not hitting their check, but it's hitting the card. Okay, on the 80-20, so it gives the, we currently, the premium is $191 or $1,091.74, and the new premium rate is $1146.32. So employee currently pays $98.52, and the proposed would be the employee would pay out of his check, his or her check, $153.10. And then on down for the children, spouse, and then family 0. On the retiree, so I had to figure out what the increase was on B per employee. And I felt like the retiree should feel the brunt of that increase. And it was right around 50 something, I don't know, $54.
On the
or-
HSA was 44.28
Yeah.
and the 80/20 was 55.69.
So took that where the county currently on the retiree pays 55.75%. In order for them to see the brunt of the increase in premium, we'd have to cut our portion down to 53%. And then those are the numbers there. And Kathy said these are pretty close to, she reviewed them for us and sent one copy to you, Judge.
Okay, so this is based on the 5% increase, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, the increase of the premium.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, there was some discussion a couple of meetings ago about the retiree grandfather and all that. But I feel that, so let's take the scenario, you started out when you were 18 to 20 years and you started with the county, right out of high school. You put in 40 years of service. Well, you're not eligible, and you retired with 40 years of service. You're not gonna be eligible for Medicare for 5 years. And I just don't see a grandfathering after all the service that they put into the county for 40 something years. And then they come and they don't have insurance for their last 5 years before they're Medicare. And I just feel like we cannot leave them after the service they gave to the county high and dry. But that's just my opinion. All this is my opinion. We had to have a starting point, and there's a starting point. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very good.
Good numbers. Thanks, Dale.
And this is the starting point where we talked about where the employee assumes.
And this is no increase to the county.
Right, this
here.
is no increase to the county, so that's one of the figures we asked for. And then we'll get some options to look at also to determine. And the other thing we must keep in mind too is that we're now on a 2.5% cap on new revenue.
And also the governor, I don't know if y'all seen his statement.
5%.
Seen his statement the other day, last week.
Yeah, he wants the counties to cut their tax rate so
Taxing,
that he doesn't have to do the bad
taxes,
person.
taxing entities
Yes,
would like to see a
yeah, not just
5%
counties, but
cut.
taxing
Right.
entities.
5% cut and don't mess with the appraisal.
Right.
That was directly from the governor.
We need to send the governor back a notice
Yes,
that we'll quit doing appraisals when they quit telling us to raise.
yes, 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 you're right. There's another thing, which I told y'all on that first letter, I think I sent y'all, you know, we just need to keep in mind too, and I don't know, maybe we should be budgeting this, I don't have a clue. But, you know, we have employees, we have 7 right now that opt out of the insurance. So you're looking at $80-something thousand if they all opted in this year. So you just, you know, in the past, well, the last couple of years has been our biggest years of employees opting out. I think part of that is they have seen that over the years, and Charlotte could tell you this too, having 2 insurances sometimes doesn't always benefit you. Years ago, it did. You know, one paid, the other paid, you never paid a dime. Now, unless you have Medicare now, then it does do it, you know. But having 2 main insurances, it doesn't really pay sometimes. So those that had these spouses, or even our situation is a couple of the families, because we have younger people, their parents still have them on the insurance. And so they, you know, their thought in their mind is, I don't want it, you know. So that's the only problem is if you had, you know, we've always had maybe 1 or 2 in the last 5 years. Before that, every employee took it. Now, when you start getting too many that don't take it, those, I hate to say this, are usually your healthy ones, and that will raise your premiums up more. You have to be careful not letting people take the insurance, you know, but we do have 7 right now.
One of them retired, didn't it? Madonna.
And so you're probably gonna have the next person take that insurance, more than likely. And but those are not budgeted figures currently. So anyway, that's my spiel. So I'll get all that from Charla here in the next day or so, and I'll get that emailed out to y'all, okay?
Okay, great. Thanks, Kathy. Dale, thanks for your work on that too.
Yeah.
Good numbers, good to look at. So we will wait till we get that information from Charla. Of course, I'll put it back on the agenda for the June 8th meeting. Maybe we'll have enough information by then that we can make a decision, and Kathy can get all that sent into TAC before our deadline. We have a couple more meetings, but maybe we can
have special.
a decision by June 8th, maybe. Hopefully we'll have enough information by then. Okay, anything else on the health plan renewal? Okay, we're gonna just, do I need a motion to table that, or just no action at this time?
No action.
No action.
No action? Okay, all right, I'll put that back on the agenda for June the 8th, so we'll revisit that topic. Okay, we are on item 16, consider and or approve the burn ban or rescind the burn ban.
Our current drought index is at 271, so it is increasing quite a bit daily until we get some moisture, but so it is increasing, but still at 271, so recommend no action.
Okay, no action.
Dry.
We didn't have an issue with the fireworks, do you know?
I didn't have any, no, other than
I didn't know
really
they-
busy and a lot of people congregating on one spot. No real big issue.
No emergency.
I didn't say it. One guy
Did you
saw
hear
one.
me?
I didn't say one.
Okay, item 17, consider and or approve disposal of obsolete office equipment. The only thing I had was a request from the tag office. Jan, I believe I gave you that list. There's a mouse, a keyboard, a couple of keyboards, and 2 counterfeit detectors. So do I have a motion?
Motion, we approve the disposal.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. All right, item 18, accept certificates of completion from elected or appointed officials.
I don't have any.
Okay.
Start online in this stuff.
19, consider and or approve request. Oh, well, the club rooms aren't open, so we'll skip that. 20, consider and or approve line item changes, transfers, and or budget amendments. Mark, do you have anything? Hold on a second, we got to unmute you. Oh, there you go.
No, there's not anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Item 21, consider and or approve advertising, opening, accepting, or awarding bids. Anything on that, Mark?
No, I hadn't received anything.
Okay. 22, consider and or approve donations to Hutchinson County. Anybody want to speak up? No? Okay. 23, accept reports from elected or appointed officials.
I have the libraries and also Dwayne Chisholm's.
Okay. Item 24, discussion of county judges and commissioners precinct daily operations. Do y'all have anything?
I really don't have anything for me, but I want to give a thanks to Red and Dale and Eddie Watson for all the work they've done on getting our courthouses annexed ready for.
Yes.
You've done a great job.
Yep. I just need to remind everybody that our cybersecurity training was due to be completed, the mandatory training by May the 1st is what the commissioners had decided on. I think it was May the 1st. So we still have a few people that have not, and I believe I emailed each department head or elected official about the people in their offices that still need to complete that training. So we need to get that done ASAP, or we're going to end up locking you out of your computer. So if I sent you an email to complete that, if you have any questions, just holler at my office. But everybody needs to get that completed immediately. I have a list, but I don't have it right here with me. But
Gonna get a Christmas present. If you don't get it done.
okay, make sure you do. Just a reminder, everybody. Anything else on item 24? Nope. We do not, item 25, we don't have any struck off tax properties or tax deeds. I haven't been notified of any, so that's good. Our next meeting is scheduled for June the 8th. Hopefully everyone will be in person and accounted for, hopefully me. I hope so. So do y'all have anything else? Just wanted to say thank you to everybody for taking care of me. Appreciate y'all.
You're welcome.
Okay, if there's nothing else, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
You